This is the SPIRE Aquatic Center in Geneva, Ohio, as we welcome you to the final day of the 2025 WWPA Men's Championship. We got 3 games on tap for you today, starting off here with the 5th place game between the McKendree Bearcats and the Salem Tigers, and then we'll move along to the 3rd place game between Fresno Pacific and Gannon, and we will crown the 2025 WWPA Men's Champion. It's an all-Southern California matchup as Biola will take on Concordia to close out the final day of the 2025 WWPA Men's Championship. Hello, my friends. We are pleased to be with you back from the SPIRE Aquatic Center in Geneva, Ohio. I'm Colton the Bias. It is going to be a fun day, to say the least, as we close out the 2025 WWPA Men's Water Polo Championship. It is going to be the Battle of the Eagles in a Southern California battle for the championship later on today, as Biola will go up against Concordia. Concordia will be looking for its first WWPA men's title, and Biola will go for its 2nd title and their first since 2023. And we are going to move along now to our 5th place game between the McKendree Bearcats and the Salem Tigers. Both of these teams falling in the quarterfinals on Friday on day number 1. McKendree following the Fresno Pacific in the quarterfinals. It was a 17-13 final. And on the other side, one of the top games of the tournament so far, Biola edging out Salem 15-14 was the final. But both of these teams still with a chance to at least head back home with a 5th place nod in the 2025 men's tournament, as both of these teams see the pool for the final time this season as well. And McKendree edging out UC Merced yesterday 15-14. UC Merced, they got a victory against Salem yesterday 19-7 in the final game that we had here at the SPIRE Aquatic Center to close out day number 2 of the championship. So UC Merced was able to head back home to California with 1 win in their expedition games. And like we talked about, all tournament, UC Merced, they will be eligible for the championship tournament come tournament time next year, as we are ready to go for the opening sprint as we begin the final day of the 2025 Men's Water Polo Championship in the WWPA, and the opening sprint is going to be won by the Tigers. Salem, the defending champions, heading into this tournament. Like we talked about, that tough loss against the Biola Eagles. And a turnover out of the gate by McKendree. It was taken back. That was Vettere getting the steal for the Bearcats. The 5th place game last year. It consisted of Fresno Pacific and McKendree, so McKendree playing in the 5th place game for the 2nd year in a row, losing to Fresno Pacific 14-13 last year in a turnover by Marko Jovanovic. Starting at net, it is going to be Mateja Tesarovic, who started in the quarterfinals for Salem, and Gennaro Pecoraro in net for McKendree. And a shot that rattles off the post. Rebound blow-up by Vettere. Oh, that hit off of the crossbar, and the second chance did not go through. 2 chances for Voras, and he comes up empty. So still no score in the opening minute and 30 seconds. And McKendree, they were trying to change that there with Yannick Robertson. But a turnover, and the Tigers take it back the other end as 2 teams from the East Division meet here in the 5th place game. The 3rd place game coming up next, Gannon and Fresno Pacific. And then we will crown the champion with Biola going up against Concordia. That's Mina Narcevic. What in control, 8 seconds to shoot for Salem. And get it back to Hurry. 4 seconds to shoot, they fire, they score, far side, Tigers strike first. Marko Jovanovic. He was a member of the all-freshman team in his freshman year 2 years ago, and a first-team member last year along with a bid to the, or a name I should say, to the all-defensive team. And he gets the Tigers on the board. Let's see what McKendree can do with the response. Two teams that, of course, saw each other in the regular season. An exclusion against the Tigers. So a power play chance here. Gibson sending it back. Gibson has it again. Prokopis, far side. 12 seconds to shoot. Back towards the middle. They shoot. They score. Mardla Goff ties it. The WWPA first team member makes it 1-1. These two teams met 2 times in the regular season, with McKendree and Salem splitting. McKendree won the first contest that these two teams played against each other on October 11th at the WWPA Illinois week, and that was hosted by McKendree. 13-9 was the final, and then McKendree made the trip to Bridgeport, West Virginia at the Bridgeports Complex for the Salem Invitational, and a penalty shot is going to be on the way for Salem, and the Tigers winning the second contest of the regular season 19-17. That was the only conference win of the regular season for Salem. And the Tigers with an opportunity to take the lead back on the penalty shot, and they will. Marko Zivojanovic. And Salem regrabs the lead. It'll be controlled by Gibson. And a whistle as they try to get it to Ramy. Ramy has control. Kessler's getting called for a foul that he's not too happy about. Brent Prokopis. Near side and another whistle. An exclusion against Salem, so McKendree back on the power play. Gibson in the middle. Back to Quentin Gallagher. Gibson again, looking towards the net. Gallagher sends it off, and they shoot off of the crossbar. Prokopis. And swimming back to regrab is Gallagher. Gibson, as McKendree will try again to tie, they will. Joshua Gibson, the sophomore out of the Bahamas, ties it at 2. And Gibson exits out of the pool for McKendree. And another player exiting out as well, I believe it's Vettere. There's the Bearcats. And of course, along with Salem, with everybody here, all 6 teams had the ambition of taking home the championship back home with them. Of course, McKendree winning the women's championship back in April in Morgantown. That emotional victory for the Bearcats. Into the middle here, over the crossbar. With the shot taken, Arcevic. He took that with chlorine right in his face. I believe he took that below the surface. Ramy throws it over Robertson. But the question was he past the 2-meter line? He was. That goal will not count. And a breakaway chance the other way. Arcevic, he gets drawn to the 5-meter line, and there's not a call. And Arcevic not happy about it. And McKendree the other way. There's Ramy. In between the 5 and the 2-meter lines. With the Mardla Goff drawing the foul in towards the middle, towards Robertson. And they reset. Ramy trying to throw it on the run. Trying to send it off to Legoff. Now with 3:30 left in the opening period. This game's still tied at 2. Salem trying to change that. Voras. The slide to the far side. 10 seconds to shoot. A lot of pressure put on by Rami on Arcevic. Hurry, he scores! Salem retakes the lead. Samson Hurry, the freshman out of Houston. And it's 3-2 Salem with 3:09 left in the first period. And timeout is going to be called with 3:07 on the clock until we move along to the second. Happy you all are along with us. 9:11 Eastern Standard Time here in Geneva, Ohio, as the early bird definitely getting the worm here inside the SPIRE Aquatic Center with our first game at 9 a.m. sharp. We'll move along, of course, to the third place game at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Fresno Pacific taking on Gannon, and then we will decide the champion. It's going to be Biola taking on Concordia. Biola looking for their second WWPA championship after winning it all in McKendree in 2023. And the team they beat is the team they are going to be facing off, Concordia. This is going to be the third year in a row that Concordia, the Golden Eagles, have competed in the championship match. Concordia losing to Biola, of course, in 2023, and then they lost to Salem in their home pool last year against the Salem Tigers. As Concordia could the third time be the charm for the Golden Eagles to win their first WWPA championship. They've been a member of the conference since 2018. It's going to be an all Southern California matchup. Two schools that are about 40 minutes apart from each other. Nestled in Southern California, really only Anaheim separates them. So that is going to be an exciting championship match later on today with the Battle of the Eagles and the Battle of Southern California with Biola taking on Concordia. So we know that the championship trophy will be heading back to the Los Angeles area, but will it be going to Biola or Concordia? Only time will tell. Salem, they have been a member of this conference for now 3 seasons. They won the third place game over McKendree in 2023, then of course taking the championship against Concordia last year, losing to UCLA in the first round of the national championship tournament in Stanford. Play resumes off at the timeout, a 3-2 lead for Salem. McKendree taking 4th place 2 years ago. This is also a rematch of the third place game from 2023, and McKendree in the 5th place game once again for the second year in a row after losing to Fresno Pacific last year. And Salem defeated McKendree in the 3rd place game in 2023. That was when McKendree hosted in Illinois. Gibson, as McKendree trying to tie it here. Rakopis pulls it back, Legoff, and that is a big stop for Tesarovich. And, oh, did that go in? Off the rebound, it did. I'm curious to see if we can get a replay of that one, because I completely missed it. I looked down on my score sheet, and a bizarre way for McKendree to get on the board there is Tesarovich. It seemed he was going to gain control. As we're going to get a replay of it here. Tesarovich grabbed it. And, oh my goodness, that was just poked in. Tesarovich was trying to clear it out, and Kevin Keogh was there to poke it in to tie it. It's one of the most bizarre goals we have seen so far in this tournament. Especially thanks to Nat, our producer, providing the replay there. And there's Legoff. With McKendree trying to retake the lead. So one thing you look out for a second, and then you miss a goal. 6 seconds to shoot. They pull it back to Prokopis. And Prokopis trying to gain control of the ball. 2 seconds to shoot. Prokopis has to fire it away, and it is in the back of the net. But it seems it is not going to count because a foul is on the way. So it remains a tie game. And Arcevic looking to change that for Salem. Gibson on him. Arcevic trying to race up to the ball. Gibson looking for it too. And Gibson gets the steal from McKendree. And he sends it back to Pekka Guerrero. Throws it to Prokopis. With McKendree trying to take the lead here. Prokopis faking it to Doherty. Sending it in front, and they score. McKendree takes the lead. It's Kevin Keogh again, back-to-back. The sophomore out of Chicago. Getting that goal and that steal from Tesarovich, and he goes back-to-back there to give McKendree the lead. Marko Jovanovic. A lot of pressure by Robertson. Jovanovic sends it off to Voraz. A lot of open space in the corner. That was the Fenner. Fenner has it back with 8 to shoot. Back to the point. Now it's to the middle, trying for the flip, too high. As it rattled off of the crossbar, Arcevic tried to send it home. And with 48 seconds, McKendree with a chance to go ahead by 2 as Legoff swims up with it. Legoff, a whistle. Sablik was on him. There's Gibson. Fenner on defense, and Fenner's going to get called for the foul, and I believe it's not an exclusion. He had to get away from Gibson. 13 seconds to shoot. Legoff fires, and he's going to send that one wide. So the shot clock is going to be turned off. Salem with an opportunity to tie before we head to the second quarter. Vojinovic throws it. One-timer. Penalty shot coming for Salem. With 19 seconds, the Tigers with a chance to tie it. With a penalty shot, it's going to be taken by Vojinovic. The senior, one of the many players from Serbia. Rob Bolian squad. Vojinovic, he ties it. Another penalty shot goal for Salem. And McKendree with a chance to take the lead, though, with 18 seconds left until we move to the second. There's Legoff. Vojinovic fighting with him. 7 seconds. Throws it. Prokopis. A foul. And Prokopis sending it back, running out of time to shoot. Jaden Del Campo with just 1 second on the clock, and Legoff can get it off in time, and the deflection in front of Robertson hits off of the crossbar, and it is a tie 5th place game as we move to the second quarter. Happy you all are along with us once again on the WWPA Sports Network for the 2025 WWPA Men's Championship. And having a look at the other championship games around the other 5 conferences. As Fordham tries to go for another MEWPC title. We talked about it yesterday, and even Rob Boley and I believe mentioned it yesterday in our interview that we had with him after the UC Merced game, with Fordham and George Washington meeting in the MEWPC championship game. Fordham, they were in the semifinals last year, losing to USC in double overtime. A perfect season was also on the line for the Rams, but Fordham could not become the first non-California team to compete in the national championship game, losing to USC in overtime. But Fordham will be taking on George Washington a little later on today, I should say, for the MEWPC title and the NWPC title. It is going to be the Battle of the Ivies, Princeton and Harvard. But what a game for Yale yesterday against Harvard, one of the oldest rivalries in all of college football. And with the Ivy finally having a chance to compete for the FCS National Championship with the Ivies for the first time ever. Getting a bid to the championship. With the Ivies never having the automatic bid to the FCS playoffs, but they finally changed that this year, and Yale will be the first ever team to compete for the FCS National Championship and the Battle of the Ivies and the NWPC Championship in Rhode Island, as Princeton will take on Harvard. And the big one, the MPSF, it's going to be USC taking on UCLA. UCLA defeated Cal yesterday in the semifinals, 11-9, and USC edging out Stanford 11-10. So it's going to be UCLA and USC. And with only 2 at-large bids available for the tournament, we'll just have to wait and see how things shape out for the at-large bids if Cal or Stanford could try to make the case. And the WCC Championship, it's going to be San Jose State going up against Cal Baptist. And the Big West Championship, it's going to be Long Beach State taking on UC Davis. So those are the championships for the 5 conferences around NCAA men's water polo. And the MAWPC, the NWPC, the MPSF, the WCC, and the Big West. The championship winners for all 5 of those conferences, including the winner here for the WWPA Championship, all will be heading out to California for the NCAA National Championship Tournament at the Avery Aquatic Center in Stanford. Hosting the tournament one more year before it heads to San Diego at the Canyon View Pool in 2026, where it will be hosted by UC San Diego. Play resumes as we move along to the second. A tie 5th place game here. Hurry. Throws it past the 2-meter. They send it off far side. Now back to the point. 8 seconds to shoot. Tough angle shot. Back to the point. Now sending it out wide. Into the middle again with 1 second to shoot. And Sablick scores with no time left on the shot clock. And Salem regains the lead. Sablick, junior out of Croatia. Legoff. There's Gibson. Legoff trying for control back. Zivojenovic is on him. And throws it, but nobody was home, and it is going to be grabbed by Tesarovic. Voras throws it far side. Just above the 6-meter line. Now back to the 2-meter with 7 seconds to shoot. Hurry fires, and that is denied. But it's going to stay with Salem as it went off of the paw of Pekka Herrera. Flores to Hurry. Waits. Hurry again. Sending it off, and that is going to be all. Pekka Herrera just keeping it out. Voras was trying to send it home, and Pekka Herrera grabbing it just in time. There's Gibson. Sends it over, and this game is tied again. Ricardo Vettere. The senior out of Padova, Italy. One of the 2 Italians on this McKendree squad, of course, with Pekka Herrera. And Quentin Gallagher checks back in for McKendree. Hurry. Past the 5-meter line. Off to the 2 with 16 seconds to shoot. And Hurry, a lot of pressure by Robertson, and Gibson is going to send it back to Pekka Orero. As the Bearcats try to recapture the lead. But Robertson has a lot of pressure near side. He has to send a pass. Nobody was home as he tried to send it off to Gallagher, who was not expecting it. And Gallagher getting pushed to the outside. Now back to the inside. Another whistle with a foul that's going to be called against Hurry. And that's going to draw an exclusion. McKendree a chance on the power play right here. Gibson, Prokopis. Gibson doesn't see anything he likes towards the net. So McKendree trying to send it out wide, looking for a shot. Gibson, Prokopis, he's got it. McKendree takes the lead again. Back and forth we go in the 5th place game. Two teams that know each other extremely well. Both of these teams look to head back home. Bus rides back home for both of these teams. About a 9-hour drive from McKendree to get here from Illinois outside of St. Louis. And a chance off of the crossbar. But an offensive rebound for Salem. 1v1 looking for a shot, and it's going to draw a penalty shot as Arcevic, Pekka Orero, is trying to race up towards the ball, and it's going to draw a penalty shot, and Zivo Jenovic will take it again. Salem 2 for 2 on penalty shots in this game. Zivo Jenovic has got them both. Can he get number 3 here? He does. And this game is tied at 6. Olfsen. To Gallagher. Into the middle. And a lot of Whitecaps swarming the ball. Getting there was Voraz. Voraz with the catch at the midline. Swims it up alone. Tough angle. In towards the middle, trying to get a shot, was Arcevic. Voraz, back to Hurry. Trying for a shot far side. And another foul. Salem keeps. At the Sablich. Thought about letting it go. That's going to hit off of the post, high into the air, back to the midline with the shot by Zivo Jenovic. Salem trying to reset, but they can't, applying a lot of pressure to get it back as Del Campo. But the Tigers regain possession again as they try to regain the lead. Hurry. Thought about letting it go, sends a pass, Zivo Jenovic. Far side at the 2-meter. Into the middle, the one-timer, it is denied by Pekka Orero, and a rebound chance is denied again. Sablich had the first shot, Arcevic had the second, and both of them were kept out by Pekka Orero. And there goes Vettere the other way. Look off at the 2-meter and possession back to Salem. The Tigers with another chance to tie it, a long pass to Arcevic. Trying to flip it in, he was pressured all the way by Del Campo, and Pekka Orero regains possession. There's Vettere. Now Ramy. Ramy, the love one-timer. That is denied. What a stop by Tesarovich right in front. As Keogh tried to send it home. And Keogh wanting another chance for maybe a bizarre goal. And since the tube was touched by Tesarovich, McKendree regains possession. Tesarovich touching the out-of-bounds line. And McKendree, another chance to regain the lead. Gallagher, now Keogh. Actually, Ramy, I should say. Keogh patrolling things towards the middle. And McKendree. Back out is Legoff. He sends a starboard. Now a port pass. Legoff. Left side, Gallagher. Now Ramy. Have some space. No one's on him. Sends it into traffic, and he's got it. McKendree retakes the lead. And a timeout is called by Rob Olean. Rob Olean, one of the more experienced coaches, as we have another look at one of the goals. He's been with this program for 15 years. He was an assistant on the women's water polo team. Jeff Passwater, the head coach for the women's team, he is here. Rob's assistant on the men's team. With Ramy nowhere to go, so he decides to take the shot himself, and he sends that left shelf. And Miguel Figueres in his first year at the helm of this McKendree Bearcat squad, taking over for the Lake Colleen Lishway. And his son Alex, the women's head coach. Coming over from Washington University in St. Louis, where he was the head water polo coach for the club squad. Also spending some time on the men's development team and the Olympic development team. Also coaching at the high school ranks. As McKendree participating in the 5th place game for the 2nd year in a row. After falling to Fresno Pacific 14-13 last year. Off the timeout. There's Pecoraro. Sends it off to Hurry. As Salem trying to get the extra point here as they want to try to get the lead back. And Salem did have a football team back in the day in the 80s. Jimbo Fisher played there, as a matter of fact. And current West Virginia head coach Rich Rodriguez, he was the head coach for Salem for a season. Tigers off of the post. Hurry takes the shot. But an offensive rebound for the Tigers. And tough angle shot off the post again. And Salem cannot cash in to tie it. Yeah, Rich Rodriguez, he was on Salem's staff for 3 years. He was the DB's coach in 1986, the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator in 1987, and he was also the head coach for 1 year in 1988 before leaving to head to Morgantown as the outside linebackers coach for West Virginia, and of course that is where he is back returning to West Virginia this year. And another chance rattles off the post. And Jimbo Fisher also playing for Salem from 1985 to 1986 before he went to Sanford. And that chance is going to go wide, and McKendree not the other way, a whistle. And McKendree, they too have a football team. They went 4-7 this year, remember, the GLVC, and that is denied by Pecco Herrera on the chance to Robertson. Del Campo with 5 seconds to shoot. Now a chance blocked. Prokopis trying for the rebound with 1 second on the clock. And McKendree keeping, and Salem, I should say, keeping this a 1-goal game with that big block in front. Voras was there along with Jovanovic. So we move along to the third quarter of this 5th place game with a 7-6 lead for the McKendree Bearcats. We'll be back to start the third when we return. You're watching the 2025 WWPA 5th place game. We are back here as we move along to the third quarter of the WWPA fifth place game with a 7-6 lead for McKendree over the Salem Tigers. Both of these teams seeing the pool for the final time this year. Both teams switching sides as well. McKendree's going to be attacking left to right and Salem right to left. Goalies will stay the same. Pecoraro back in the crease for McKendree, and Tesarovich will return to the crease for Salem. So we move along the quarter number 3, and the opening sprint is going to be won by McKendree. It was taken by Vettere. And towards the 2-meter line, Gibson. The first offensive possession of the half to the Bearcats. Doherty with a pass, Prokopis, and Salem, are they going to get a steal? It's an exclusion instead, as Gibson keeps for the Bearcats. Prokopis. Gibson back to Prokopis at the 5-meter line. Gibson again lets it go, blocked on the way towards the net. Hurry with the rejection, but Gibson gets it back. Legoff, he loses it, and it is going to be Zivo Genovic applying the pressure to get it back for Salem as they try for a chance to tie it. Jovanovic. And towards the middle. Arcevic trying to send it home, and it is going to go away from the net. Pecoraro grabs it as it was sailing towards the net, but it would have made contact with the crossbar. Vettere throws it to Gibson. Now Prokopis, a whistle. 5-meter line. Gibson gets it back. Trying to swat it out of the air was Arcevic, and Gibson's going to fire. He scores. Joshua Gibson. And it's an 8-6 lead for McKendree as they strike first in the third. Jovanovic. Prokopis applying pressure. Jovanovic finds Voraz. Below the 2-meter. Trying for an opportunity in the middle. They send it back to the point. And a shot that is blocked by Legoff. Salem trying to get it again, but they could not cash in. Hurry took the shot, but it was denied by the WWPA first-team player. Legoff controls again. Prokopis fires, he scores! Alexandros Prokopis, the freshman out of Greece. And that is now 4 goals in a row for McKendree. And they lead by 2. Or actually, did that not count? And it shifts the other way. That is denied. Pecoraro denies the Arcevic. And that goal did not count, so it stays at an 8-6 lead for McKendree. Prokopis. He scores. That one will count. And now it is 9-6. So it is 4 goals in a row for McKendree after all. Salem trying to find a goal in this half. Voraz pushing it ahead. 5-meter. Runs it down below to the 2. Voraz again. Waits. Love past the 2-meter. Voraz, and that is denied by Pecoraro. Since it went off Pecoraro, Tigers keep. Voraz, Gallagher trying for the steal. Salem, can they get on the board here? And that is gonna hit behind the net, not in the net. On the tough angle shot. Now Legoff has some space as he races up the pole. Pass on the run into the middle, and a foul with a whistle as Gallagher was the target. And Gallagher draws the exclusion. They give another power play chance for McKendree as they try to get goal number 10. Better right back to Legoff. And the pass, Prokopis. Swatted out of the air. Prokopis gets it back. Legoff lets it go, and that is a big stuff. Oh, the rebound chance. It will not count, but what a chance in front to Keogh, who was past the 2-meter line as he tried to send it home on the rebound. Zivojenovic. Can Salem get on the board here? Hurry. And towards the middle, the pass was a little too far. Arcevic cannot gain control. And Pecoraro has it back. Legoff. That's the 5-meter. Trying to take the shot. Coming over the cover was Jovanovic. Doherty, another whistle. It goes against Voraz. 7 seconds to shoot. Gallagher waits. Back to Doherty. Oh, what a stop. Tesarorovic. That was a stop the Tigers were looking for as they tried to send it the other way past the halfway point of the third quarter, and they have not scored yet. And that is Pecoraro with the steal, with the pass that was offline, trying to get it to Arcevic. Legoff throws it far side, back to Legoff, who fires, and another stop for Tesarorovic. Back-to-back stops for the sophomore out of Serbia. And the horn sounds that a timeout is going to be called. I believe it was taken by Miguel Figueres. And it was just a short timeout. And so nobody's going to get called over, so we'll be back to resume play. And 9-6. And that was actually a timeout called by Salem. With McKendree playing in the 5th place game for the 2nd year in a row, losing to Fresno Pacific 14-13 last year. Move on to the 3rd place game with Fresno Pacific. The team that McKendree lost to in the 5th place game last year in Fresno Pacific will take on Gannon for 3rd place. And a steal, Rami. Salem trying for the double team, and Rami having to get it off, and the only man there was Jovanovic. And he throws it, Zivojenovic. Into the middle, and finally Salem gets on the board. Antonio Sablich for the first goal of the quarter for Salem. And McKendree leads by 2. Olfsen. The target is Rami. Throwing it off target. He tried to feed it off to Del Campo, who picks it up in the corner. 17 seconds to shoot, and Del Campo again being guarded by Sablich. Sablich trying to win it back for Salem, but he got pushed off pressure by Del Campo, who was slowing him down. Salem trying to go for back-to-back here, and another whistle, and the Tigers with a penalty shot to try to get within 1. It was drawn by Zivojenovic, and he'll take the shot. Zivojanovic, he scores 9-8. Back-to-back for Salem. Another penalty shot goal for Zivojanovic. That's his third in this game. Actually, he has fourth, I should say. He has 4 goals. Established with 2. Jovanovic with 1. Hurry with 1. And McKendree. 2 goals for Prokopis and Gibson. 1 for Legoff. 2 for Kevin Keogh. And 1 for Vetteray and 1 for Ramy. Prokopis, Legoff. By Olsen. Legoff again, Zivojanovic. Legoff, 5-meter, foul. One-timer chance, and past the 2-meter line, so Salem has it back. Prokopis, too far. Past the 2-meter line, and Salem, after they were down 9-6 at one point, a chance to, just about to say they had a chance to tie it, and now, as the ball goes into the net, and that was a dead ball, so it stays at a 9-8 advantage for McKendree. And they try to make it 10-8 right here. Keogh. Legoff. Throws it past the 2-meter. Up to Gibson. Back to Legoff. Gibson. Legoff into the air, and he sent that too high. With a little too much altitude above the net, and Salem with a chance to tie again. Arcevic, 1v1, and another penalty shot for Salem. Assuming that Zivojanovic will take it again. As Salem trying to tie the game and remain perfect on penalty shots, they are 4 for 4. Zivojanovic sending every single one in. Can he keep the pattern going right here? And he will. This game is tied at 9. 3 goals in a row for Salem. 5 penalty shot goals for the Tigers. McKendree. They try the reset here. And a chance, and that is denied by Tesarovic. And McKendree regains possession. Vetteray, a swat out of the air. Vetteray is going to get it back. And drawing the foul is Fenner. And that's going to be an exclusion. They give a power play chance for McKendree as they try to retake the lead and stop the 3 goals in a row for Salem. And like we said, it was a 1-score 5th place game last year when Fresno Pacific took down McKendree. And a timeout is going to be called by Miguel Figueres with 48 seconds on the clock. It was a 9-6 lead for McKendree in this quarter, with then 3 goals in a row for Salem. Marko Zivojanovic getting 5 of the goals, all in penalty shots. And this game is tied at 9 with 48 seconds remaining until we head to the final quarter of regulation. And dare I say it, one thing that we have not had yet in this tournament is overtime. We did not have overtime in the women's tournament last year. Or, I guess, technically last season, earlier this year when it was in Morgantown. And we'll see how things play out here. Seems the last time there was an overtime game in the tournament, you have to go back to 2 years ago when McKendree defeated Fresno Pacific in overtime in the first game in the quarterfinals. From the looks of it, it seems there was not an overtime game in the championship competition last year. Play resumes off of the timeout that was called by the Bearcats. Throws it past the 2-meter. Legoff, left hand. Gibson, back to Legoff, into the middle. Robertson blocked! Oh, a rejection for Seblich, and Salem will try to go for 4 in a row and take the lead. Hurry. Zivojenovic. A foul with Prokopis guarding. 6 seconds to shoot, and that is going to be denied by Pekka Herrera, but Salem will have a chance for one more shot to take the lead before we head to the fourth. And towards the middle, trying for the shot was Arcevic, and an exclusional A1 with 2 seconds on the clock. Voraz, and time is going to run out on the third. We head to the fourth, tied at 9. Rob Bullion fired up on the sidelines for Salem. Like we talked about, the last game for both teams as Salem, they look to finish just above 500 at 15-15 at the moment. Salem would finish off the 2025 season 16-15 if they hold on to win. And for McKendree, they will look to finish off 12-12. As both teams, like we talked about with Salem, trying for the back-to-back title this year after winning the championship in California last year, defeating Concordia and then heading to Stanford for the national tournament. But Salem was just not meant to be this year as they lost to Biola in that crazy one-score game, with Biola edging out Salem 15-14. And on the other side, we talked about it as well for McKendree, a team that, of course, unfortunately, had to play with heavy hearts all year because of the loss of their late head coach, Colleen Lishway, in January. And, of course, the women's team taking the WWPA championship. That was such an emotional scene in Morgantown back in April, with McKendree finishing the story and winning that championship for Colleen. And McKendree, a tough one here as they lost to Fresno Pacific 17-13 in the quarterfinals on Friday. So one more chance for both of these clubs to see the pool for the final quarter of regulation here this season. So both teams will head into 2026 after the conclusion of this contest. And to see where both teams will start their seasons starting next year, it was both Salem and McKendree starting off the year in Colorado at the Air Force Academy. Salem starting off their season at the Air Force Invite. And McKendree, they started off their year at the Air Force Academy a week later at the Rare Air Invitational. So we'll have to wait and see where both teams will start off their seasons next year. As both teams check back into the pool as we move along to the final quarter in this fifth place game. A 9-9 game. And the opening sprint and a horn immediately, and the timeout was called by Rob Bullion 2 seconds into the fourth. full timeout. 2 seconds into the fourth. Right off the opening sprint. That's something we have not seen in this tournament. Our officials for this game here. Also want to thank all of our officials for joining us. Jay O'Neill and Alex Laren. And Jay O'Neill, head coach for St. Francis. They just have a women's team. We'll move along to the third place game coming up next. Fresno Pacific will be taking on Gannon. It was Biola and Gannon in the third place game last year. Again, the Biola won 14-12. And so Gannon will be participating in the third place game for the second year in a row. And that game will be coming up next off the timeout for Salem, 2 seconds into the fourth. And Tesarovic will send it off. Throwing it over, and that is kept out. What a stop. Pekka Herrero. And Procopis. Handing it off. What a stop at Pekka Herrero to start the fourth. A lot of open space for Procopis. And Gibson. The touch by Seblik. Procopis. At the 6-meter block by Salem. Arcevic getting a piece of it. And it's going to be run down by Tesarovic. Boras throws. Arcevic looking to let it go as Salem looks for the lead. And they almost got it, but that is going to clank off of the iron. And Pekka Herrero throws it ahead, Robertson. "15 seconds to shoot in the final 6 minutes and 45 seconds of regulation. Fresno Pacific and Gannon warming up in the pool next to us, and a whistle and a wide open shot would have been in order for Vettere. Tesarovic. Ivanovic. I want to thank you all for waking up with us on the WWPA Sports Network 5th place game right here. Trying for the one-timer and another whistle as Arcevic controls it to the middle. Salem takes the lead. Boras, the freshman out of Edmonton. And the Tigers take the lead for the first time since the first. Del Campo, now Legoff, Sablich, and Legoff again, Del Campo. Legoff, 8 seconds to shoot. Legoff controls left hand, and Somber moving the hands. 3 seconds to shoot. Legoff lets it go. He scores. Amar Legoff in the heavy traffic. This game is tied at 10. Amar Legoff, the first team player for the Bearcats. Like we said, we have not had an overtime game yet in this tournament. Could we change that here? Hurry. Zivojevic. Hurry. Salem trying to retake the lead, and a whistle as they try to send it into the middle to Arcevic. And Salem can regain control in front on the power play. Zivojevic, he holds, now he throws it over. Arcevic into the middle, one-timer, and that is going to hit off the post with the shot by Hurry. And McKendree with a chance to take the lead again. Ramy at the midline. Sablik was on him. Doherty, 6 seconds. Doherty at the 6-meter line, and that is going to be denied by Tesarovich, but McKendree keeps with a fresh shot clock. Federer. Now Ramy. At the point they shoot, they score. Doherty. And McKendree takes the lead again. Doherty into the traffic. Jovanovic. Hurry. Salem trying to tie it. Hurry again at the 6-meter. 12 seconds to shoot. Gallagher trying for the steal. It's squared away. 5 seconds to shoot, and that is denied. Pecoraro on the chance to hurry. Since Pecoraro had control, the Tigers, since he got a piece of it, Salem will keep. They'll have another chance to tie. Zivojevic takes the shot to the point. Jovanovic too high. But, oh, it went off Pecoraro, so Salem with another chance. McKendree thinking that it did not touch Pecoraro out of bounds, as it was going out of bounds, but McKendree has to stay on defense. Salem looking to take the, or trying to tie, I should say, Zivojevic. McKendree holds the lead. Jovanovic. Zivojevic. Fires, and into the paws of Pecoraro. McKendree has it back ahead by 1, and Salem has it back again. Looking for a chance here. Hurry. He was trying to send it to Voraz. And Hurry trying to get it back, but Robertson was slowing him down, and Voraz pulls it back. Jovanovic into the middle, and Pecoraro coming out of the crease, but it is kept. Sablik would have had a chance towards the net, and another whistle. Zivojevic with control and exclusion against McKendree. Sablich, Ramy on him. Hurry, he scores. We're tied at 11 with 3:19 left. Samson, hurry. There's Gibson. McKendree trying to take the lead back. And Gallagher throws it to Legoff. Gibson, Legoff returns. Gibson to the point. Legoff throws it over. Almost had the intercept. Was Voraz. Gallagher. Back to Legoff. 4 seconds to shoot. Legoff lets it go, and that is going to be denied by Tesarovich, and McKendree gets it back. It went off of him, and it went off of Sablik. That array of foul towards Jovanovic. Gallagher skipping it into the middle, but nobody was home, and Jovanovic will take it back the other way as Salem tries to regain the lead. In a back and forth fourth quarter so far, and Pekka Herrera coming out of the crease to take the steal. Pekka Herrera turning into a defender as he stole it away from Arcevic. There's Prokopis. Another chance for McKendree to try to take the lead as Legoff was the target, but it was too high in possession. Back to Salem. Ivo Jenovic throws it on the run. Voraz into the middle. Pekka Herrera again denying a chance for Arcevic. But an exclusion is going to go against Gibson. Fenner returns again. Salem trying to take the lead back. Sablish at the point. Love one-timer. What a stop for Pekka Herrera, trying to feed the one-timer to Arcevic. And Legault was trying to steal it back right away and send it down the other rim at Sablik. Regains possession for Salem with 1:30 remaining in the fourth. Salem trying to take the lead here. Tavingo saw one-timer, they score. It started with Jovanovic sending that into the middle, and he finds Arcevic. And Salem takes the lead with 1:23 left. And it seems a timeout is called. And that is indeed the case with 1:23 left. And you have to give credit to these guys if you have a look at that goal for Salem. Another goal for Arcevic. The power play goal for Salem. Arcevic finally getting his first goal off of 7 shots. And you have to give credit to these guys, knowing that obviously both of these teams falling short of their ultimate goal. And there was also a yellow card against the McKendree bench. And you really have to give credit to both of these teams, knowing that, of course, falling short of your ultimate goal of trying to win a championship and head to the NCAA tournament. But these two teams are still playing as hard as they can. The competitive spirit in both of these clubs. With these two teams trying to head back home with the 5th place title. And McKendree. Timeout that was called by Miguel Figueres. And McKendree has control, down by 1. Pekka Herrera. 1:22 left in the 5th place game. Legoff, and McKendree loses it immediately. And Zivo Jenovic with a prayer, and oh my goodness, stuck right on the line. That ball froze. It seemed like there was ice right at the line, but McKendree has it back, and Legoff ties it. An answered prayer from McKendree on both ends of the pool, and this game is tied at 12 with under a minute left. Salem just sent down the Hail Mary shot. Pekka Herrera had to get back to the crease, That ball just stayed on the line, and Ahmad Lagoff ties it. Jovanovic. Now Voras. Zivojenovic. At the 6 meter. He waits for the love. He scores! Marko Zivojenovic, and just like that, Salem regains the lead. 39 seconds left. It only took a few seconds for Salem to regain the lead. Paco Herrera. Lagoff fighting there with Sablix. There's Ramy. He has it back again. Ramy gives it far side. Paco Herrera joining his teammates as an attacker, and he tries for the shot, and it is denied by Tesarovic. And Salem is going to send it down with an empty net. Arcevic makes it 14-12. A last-ditched effort for McKendree. Peko Herrera left a wide-open net. But Arcevic sends it home from the 6-meter line on the other side. And Salem will head back to West Virginia with 5th place. McKendree's going to fall in the 5th place game for the 2nd straight year. And a come-from-behind victory as well for the Tigers. They were down 9-6 at one point. Eight seconds, and that is going to be Zivojenovic going to get Ramy. 4 seconds. Robertson, and that's going to be actually Gibson, and he scores with 1 second on the clock. Might be a little too late. 1 second left. That empty net goal for Arcevic making the difference. Joshua Gibson getting the goal, hopefully for McKendree. It's not the last of their season. 1 second left, and Tesarovic. And now time is going to run out, and Salem takes 5th place in the 2025 WWPA Men's Championship. 14-13 the final, as the defending champions will head back to West Virginia, ending their season with a 5th place finish in this tournament. Salem is going to finish off the season 16-15, and McKendree is going to finish off 2025 11-13. Come from behind victory for Salem to end their season, so McKendree will take 6th place and Salem 5th, as the 2025 season comes to an end for both teams. Come from behind victory for Salem. And the big key, like we talked about, those 5 penalty shot goals for Salem. Arcevic getting that last goal for the Tigers on the empty net. The game-winning goal will technically go to Marko Zivojenovic, making it 13-12, and then that big save as well for Tesarovic before Arcevic sealed the game on the empty netter. And we're going to have a look at some highlights until it seems that Rob Bullion might come up to talk to us here before we move along to the 3rd place game between Fresno Pacific and Gannon. As we step aside here on the WWPA Sports Network, as Salem will head back to West Virginia, taking 5th place in the 2025 WWPA Men's Championship. 14-13 the final. We'll be back on the WWPA Sports Network. We are back here on the WWPA Sports Network here with Salem head coach Rob Boley, and as the Tigers will head back to West Virginia with a 5th place finish in the WWPA tournament. So, Rob, how were you guys able to respond, especially in that second half, as you guys were down by 3 goals, I believe, at one point, and then you guys were able to come back, and I think penalty shots were a big key for you guys to get the win.
Yeah, I mean, we had some unfortunate things happen in the beginning where we lost some key guys early, but the guys rallied. The seniors were a big role in that. We were playing for them. I mean, obviously this isn't the game we want to be playing in, but I think they all definitely rallied around each other and stopped worrying about what things weren't going our way and start building on the things that were working. And I think that's what helped us get some nice opportunities in the second half.
And you guys will head back to West Virginia, getting ready for next year. So who do you think are going to be some of your key pieces returning to the club next year? And what do you have to say about your senior class this year?
All the credit to the senior class. We don't win last year's championship without that group, and I appreciate everything they've done for us. I know that we got a young team. Their leadership was crucial in elevating some of our freshmen, even on the game on Friday against Biola. We had very, very big freshman key players. But I think for the future, I think our center, Medin, he's a freshman. I think that Nander Voros, he's a freshman from Canada. He played a great game. He's one of our best defensive players. And then getting big moments from Gage and Sampson when they were called upon. I know Danko and Gile are going to take a lot of attention. So having these guys with the ability to step up now, I think is going to be big for building for them for the future. And that's what we talked about after the game, is just this is day 2 and working for next year. Yesterday was day 1, and everything we're doing now is making sure that we're not playing in this game next year, and that's what we're going to focus on.
Rob, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it, sir. Rob Boley, head coach for the Salem Tigers, as the Tigers will head back to West Virginia with a 5th place finish in the 2025 WWPA Championship. We're going to take a little break here. We'll be back in about a half hour for the start of the 3rd place game, as the Fresno Pacific Sunbirds will go up against the Gannon Golden Knights. So we'll be back in about a half hour for the 3rd place game, as the Tigers will head back home to West Virginia with a 5th place finish as they take down McKendree 14-13.